Come here, Charlie. Come on, Charlie. Come on, Charlie. Get an introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my dog, Charlie Doobie-Doo. Say it to the camera, Charlie. Hard cam, baby, hard cam. So why am I doing this video? Well, for the first time ever, I will be leaving my home and I will be moving off to Apopka, Florida, to continue and further my journey of professional wrestling at Flatbacks, getting trained by Shawn Spears and Tyler Breeze and everyone else that is a part of the Flatbacks family. And I just wanted to take this video to remind myself and everyone what I've achieved in the past few years of my wrestling journey. And just like any wrestling journey, we start off with who got me into wrestling and why I fell in love with wrestling. And mine is kind of weird because I didn't start liking wrestling in the time of era I came up in, which I believe since around the 2000, around the end of Ruthless Aggression era and started the PG era around that time. But I actually started watching wrestling with my cousin Austin. He's the one that originally put it in and let us watch it together. And I started watching Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and stuff like that. And then we started watching a little bit of modern day wrestling because he grew up with Jeff Hardy and all them. So it was awesome getting to learn from old school wrestling all the way up to that point of wrestling. And that's kind of what I was watching when I was like, you know what? I want to do this. This is what I want to do in my life. I was in, I believe, 9th grade when my coach came into the room and he was like, hey, there's a promotion in Alabama that can train you. All you got to do is sign this permission slip where it's like if you get hurt or whatever, that type of thing. And I'm like, oh, my mama's signing this right now. So she signed it for me and I started training in Alabama at 15 at WWA, Wiregrass Wrestling Alliance, by no other than Cowboy Buddy Love. In this video, you know, I don't want to kill wrestling, but I do want to kind of like open up a little bit more about like what I've been through. And I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the best place to start at. Like it wasn't, you know, no big wrestling school, and Buddy did the best that Buddy could do with us. And I'm not saying that Buddy was a bad trainer or nothing like that. He helped me get to the very first step of like learning how to bump and learning the very basics of chaining. And after that, I kind of went off on my own and I've started learning from everyone that I could. So no shade to Buddy or anyone else that helped me with my training at the beginning, because without them, there wouldn't be who I am today. And of course, when I first started training, I didn't start as Mr. Personality Kelly Clark. I was actually Kid Cyclone to start with. Not a name that I chose, a name I was given. And I started as Kid Cyclone, and then as I started developing who I wanted to be as a character, one of the guys I grew up loving was Adrian Street. And I took a lot of Adrian Street's personality and I put it into what I was doing, and I became Flamboyant Kid Cyclone. And that really didn't fit together well at all. I didn't like it, but it was what I was given. It's what I had to work with, so I made best do with what I had. And I started coming up with little different things, like I had Jerry the Chicken, which actually, hold up. This is Jerry the Chicken. He don't squeak no more because I think like my 4th match I had him in, Sanson threw him across a gym and like he broke. But yeah, that's Jerry the Chicken. And this was my very first ever tights I really wore that I made myself. Look how horrible they look. And on the back, they got the tassels. Say bootylicious, you know, kind of crazy. But yeah, that's kind of where my whole journey began, was right here. And after a year or two in, I decided, you know what, this name ain't for me. What I'm doing ain't for me. And I switched it up and I became just Kelly Clark. Something basic, something I called myself when I was doing backyard wrestling as a kid. I had my own ring. I was doing my own backyard shows. That's a whole nother story. But I changed it to Kelly Clark. And this is what I wore as Kelly Clark. I still had Jerry the Chicken, but this is what I wore originally as Kelly Clark. I tried to put these on the other day, and it's so crazy like how different my body is now from when I first started. And I just can't fit them. I try to put them on and I can't fit them. And I remember when I came up, well, I didn't come up with the name Mr. Personality, but I remember where I was when I wanted to do the name Mr. Personality. I was in the backyard of the Kangaroo Ranch training with Preston Veston. And I was like, you know, Cali Man was Mr. Personality back in the day. And I was like, that was my idol growing up. I used to watch him all the time back at XWX. He's actually the very first indie wrestler I really fell in love with. One of the few. And I was like, I want to be Mr. Personality, Kelly Clark. And so we got permission from Cali Man and he allowed me to do it. And that's kind of where Mr. Personality, Kelly Clark came into play. Now that we got to the point of who I am now as Mr. Personality, Kelly Clark, let's talk about how many matches I've had up to this point right now of filming this video. In 2021, I had 42 matches. In 2022, I had 68 matches. In 2023, I had 51 matches. And up to this point of 2024, I've had 51 matches as well. So altogether, ladies and gentlemen, of my few years of wrestling, I've had 212 matches, and it kind of feels like I've had more, and it kind of feels like I've had less. But it's just so weird just thinking about how many matches I've done forgotten. Like, I don't even remember having, but I have had them. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. People in the business might know what I'm talking about. And it's just crazy to me when I was a kid thinking about, like, man, I can't wait till I get into wrestling and travel and have all these matches. And wrestling has done so much for me in my life. It's helped me achieve things that I've never thought I would do. Without wrestling, I wouldn't have started taking my health very serious. Without wrestling, I wouldn't have been able to travel and see as many states and as many cool things and do what I've gotten to do without it. And I feel like that's one of the things that I love about wrestling, is because it's helped me so much in my personal life with just my personal health and my physical health. And without it, I probably honestly wouldn't be here, because at a certain point in my life, I hit a rock and I couldn't move that rock, and I've started to lose myself. My family started to see it, and they saw a change in me, and I started to not have the best mental health. I started not taking care of myself at all, and because of wrestling, I was able to pull myself out of that and keep going and become who I am today. I want to talk about as well some of my favorite opponents I've had in wrestling up to this point, and we're going to start out from the very beginning. The guy I debuted with, Aiden Pierce. Me and Aiden started together around the same time. I believe he started 1 week before me or something like that, but pretty much around the same time. And we kind of looked after each other at the beginning. We kind of helped each other along the way, learning as much as we could, pushing one another to be better and do better. And he's definitely up there as one of my favorite opponents. And one thing about Cali is he's definitely helped me with my character and who I am and my personality inside of the ring. And he's helped me get out of my comfort shell and not be afraid to be myself, and to kind of not embarrass myself, but be who I want to be in the ring and not have to worry about what people think. I'm gonna put these two in the same little clip because Scyther and Dan Lydon. Scyther is Dan Lydon's trainer, but Dan Lydon was kind of one of the very first opponents I had, and he was like one of the people that were honest with me, and it's like, hey, you're not as good as you think you are. You need to do this, you need to do that. And that was kind of the moment where I realized, like, man, I got to kick it into overdrive. I got to do better, because I'm not going to be that guy. And then I remember doing a seminar with Scyther, and this is like where I turned it up. I started doing as much as I could, when I could, training anywhere I could, doing the most. Because Scyther watched a match between me and Aiden Pierce, and he said, nothing less than horrendous. And those words stuck with me forever. And Scyther, thank you for all that you taught me. Thank you for all that you've shown me in the ring. And I probably wouldn't be the wrestler that I am today if you wouldn't have been honest with us that day. Next on the list, Suicidal Soldier. Soldier is the guy that will push you to your limits, that is going to take you out of your comfort zone and make you do things that you probably didn't think you was capable of doing. Soldier was the very first time I wrestled a 30-minute match and got into the back, and I was like, man, I can still breathe. So that was awesome, getting to work with him and just be taken to the extreme, because if there's one guy in the Gulf Coast that can do that, Suicidal Soldier is that guy. Next on the list is Andreas, because Andreas and me have similar styles. He's more of a serious guy. I'm more of a comedic guy, but we have very similar styles when it comes to technical work inside the ring. We actually like being professional wrestlers, how wrestling is supposed to be. And I gotta tell you, Andreas has got a mean arm bar. I've been in that, and I promise you, it's one of the best arm bars in professional wrestling. Now this one right here, this one right here, the one, number one. The other ones weren't in any order. Those were just on the list. This one though is at the top spot because it's been my favorite feud, one of my favorite matches, and the guy is Jacob Walker. Jacob and me have chemistry without a doubt. And he's definitely one of them guys where I know I'm gonna have to work for it. He's one of them guys also that is gonna take you to your limits. He's gonna make you do things that you thought you couldn't do. And I gotta hand it to him, because without him, Mr. Personality also wouldn't be who Mr. Personality is. So Jacob Walker, even though me and you ain't cool like that, I still thank you and applaud you for being who you are as a professional wrestler. The last thing I want to talk about is what I hope to achieve while I'm at Flatbacks Pro Wrestling School. One of the things I want to achieve is I want to be a better version of me. I want to be the best wrestler that I can be, and I feel like Shawn Spears and Tyler Breeze can bring that out of me. I feel like you should never want to be in the same spot in professional wrestling. I feel like you should always be reaching ahead. I feel like you should always want to do better and be a better performer, a better entertainer in professional wrestling. One of the things also I want to do is I want to get better at social media. I want to actually break out and do more and more things on social media. I want to be posting like 6 times a day. And living a normal life, it's hard to do that, as many of you may know. It's not impossible. I'm not saying that I can't do it now, but I'm saying like it's going to be easier for me while I'm down there, and I can focus all my time into that thing. And social media is definitely one of them things. One of the things with social media I definitely want to do is I want to hit like 2K followers and 2K subscribers on my YouTube and all my other social media platforms. So how about your boy, and subscribe, like, comment, follow, and share, please. When I first started wrestling, I looked horrible. Compared to then and now is a crazy difference, because I have been in the gym for about a year now, working out almost every day. I think there's like 2 days out the week I don't go, sometimes 3 if I'm like really working and I can't make it or something like that. But I eat healthy. I drink pretty much nothing but water now. I have my protein shakes, of course, but I don't drink sodas. I don't drink things I shouldn't be drinking, except maybe like a Yoo-hoo here or there, but don't quote me on it. Don't come at me. So working out, I definitely want to go further beyond in that as well. And to wrap this video up, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to every single body in professional wrestling I've been around. All the fans, all the wrestlers, everybody, all the referees, cameramen, everything. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making my life amazing. And like I said, this isn't a goodbye. This is a hello from Mr. Personality, Kelly Clark. You're welcome.